Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jose from Florida Hood Blogs, and on today's video we're going to talk about 5 best kept secrets in Florida. Number 5 on the list is Cedar Key. Located a little bit more than 2 hours north of Tampa, Cedar Key is one of the most unique places in the whole entire state. You'll enjoy fresh seafood directly from the Gulf of Mexico, lots of good restaurants, a beautiful historic district. The houses on this island are really impressive, especially for Florida. I strongly recommend bringing your boat if you have a boat, or to hire a captain and explore some of the islands that are a little bit further out. There's a lot of really cool stuff to see on these islands. There's little sandy patches and little beaches. The fishing is amazing up here. There's not too much fishing pressure, so if you like fishing, this is another spot you're absolutely going to love. And do not settle for only visiting the tourist district. Take the time to explore the entire island. There's a lot of really cool historic Florida houses, and they're really well restored, and you'll have a great time there. If you're interested in Cedar Key, there is a longer video on my channel about the island that you can check it out and get more information. Moving on to number 4. Located in the heart of Estero Bay called Mound Key. Even though I had lived in Florida for 20 years, I just recently found out about this place, and it was believed to be one of the mound islands that were considered to be burial grounds. And what the Calusa Indians would do is that they would build a mound with shells, and it would be a burial ground, and they would live on top of it. As soon as the Spaniards came, they also lived on the island because it was situated in the center of Estero Bay, and it was really high. And it was populated all the way up until about the 1940s, when the last farmers were no longer living on the island full-time, and the Cuban fishermen that all the way up until the 1600s, 1700s would come in and fish along the Florida coast. Then after that, you had the Europeans that settled on the island and that were farmers, and they have all these tropical plants. A lot of them are edible. Entire section of the island is nothing but dragon fruit, which is like $10 a pound at the stores here. So a lot of the fruits and plants on the island are really unique in that they've been there for so long, and they're plants that were brought there by humans. All of the animals and the plants on the island are protected. A lot of the plants are not native to Florida, but they're still protected because of their historical significance. You will find a lot of cool stuff on this island. Just make sure you leave nothing but a footprint, and you'll have a great time. The only way to access this island is if you have your own boat. There's 2 ways to get in the island, and the walk is quite long. There's a trail through the center of the island that leads from the east to the west and connects the 2 main areas that you can enter the island from. There is private property on the island. Once you're on top of the island at a pretty good elevation above the tree line, you can get a pretty good view of Estero Bay. I guess the highlight of this trip is walking to the center of the island, where you'll be able to get a beautiful view of Estero Bay. It is quite a trek, and there are some really steep climbs, so make sure you're wearing the right shoes. Make sure you're prepared. You bring some water and maybe a sandwich, because it is quite the hike to get up there. But you will find different patches of the island have different things going on, and there's a lot to explore on this little island. One of the things that I really love about this island is I really love how you can appreciate the actual Florida history. It seems like a lot of places in Florida have tried to blur the past and cover up the past. You're going to get it raw. You're going to get the history exactly the way it was from a really honest perspective. It doesn't seem like there's any type of political agenda to how they present the history about this place. It's on my channel, so if you look for it, you'll find it. I think it's labeled Mound Key, one of Florida's best kept secrets. So if you go on my channel, you'll find it. Moving on to number 3, the Peace River, located in Arcadia, Florida. It's just another one of those places in Florida that doesn't feel like it's in Florida. It reminds me of being back in Kentucky. It's a different type of landscape. The plants are different. You feel like you're in Missouri or Kentucky, or definitely don't feel like you're in Florida. The river has a few tiny little waterfalls. There's springs that come up from the ground, and the water is like acidic to where like we got asthma from some of the springs that we ran into. The fishing's not all that great in the Peace River when you get really deep into the Peace River, but if you're further towards the like Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, the fishing is a lot better. It's really worth exploring this river. There's a few things you can do on this river that, again, if you're into history, like I am, if you're into Florida the way I am, you're really going to enjoy. I ran across this gentleman, and he had shown me a little baggie that he had, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Because it was, he had these pans. I thought he was looking for gold or something. Well, it turns out that he's looking for prehistoric bones and artifacts. And what they do is they sift through the sand in the river, and they find some really cool historical stuff. He shared with me some of the things he had found in that one day, and I tell you, it's really worth trying this out, looking at some videos on the internet, and looking up information and giving this a try. I'm definitely going to give it a try someday. Moving on to number 2 on the list is the city of Everglades City. Taking time to explore the Florida Everglades and looking at all the animals and wildlife that there is to see there. Everglades City has so much to offer. If you just take the time to explore the nature, explore the wildlife, some of the best fishing. I mean, you're fishing right on the edge of the Everglades. I mean, the redfish, the snook, the tarpon, it's amazing. And those captains really know the backwater. They really know their Florida history. There's a lot you can learn about the state, and you can have a really awesome time. Everglades City has to be on this list because it's one of those things that a lot of people in Florida just overlook. I think if you're going to go there, you definitely got to get a local captain and get on the water and go into those mangroves, enjoy some of the fishing, have them take you on the 10,000 Islands, which is one of the most remote and difficult places to navigate in the state of Florida. It's called the 10,000 Islands for a reason. There are thousands of islands, and only those captains know those backwaters. And there's a lot of nature to absorb, and there's a lot of really cool things to see and do. So make sure you go on the water when you go to Everglades City. However, the most interesting thing about Everglades City is their history. The Smallwood store, it's been there for over 100 years. Just think about this post in the middle of the Everglades. Before there were railroad tracks, before there were roads, the only way to get here was by boat. And those people that were the originators of the city of Naples and Everglades City, they were real pioneers. I mean, this was the wild swamps, no electricity, mosquitoes, Florida panthers. I mean, this was a place where the people that came here were not normal people. These were some really tough people that were willing to take on this environment and try to make a home out of it. And that's really respectable and admirable from my point of view. I know up north, everywhere you go, there's historic houses. But you think about this. There's a historic district in the city of Everglades City. Can you imagine before electricity living here? Mosquitoes, wildlife. This is the middle of the Everglades. To think that these people actually made a city and put homes on this island before air conditioning, before roads, or really primitive roads at some point, it's amazing that this was accomplished. So the historic district is definitely worth taking a look at. There are some really old buildings. There's City Hall, which is a really impressive building. So if you're into old Florida history and buildings and stuff like that, you should definitely enjoy Everglades City just for the fact that there's so much historical buildings. And a lot of the newer buildings that are being built have really kept that concept of sticking to the original Florida style. So it's definitely different if you're into architecture and old houses and stuff like that. The other thing that makes Everglades City interesting, and I don't know how the local residents might feel about me touching this subject, but it's all in the past, so let's talk about it. At one point, a large percentage of the drugs that entered the United States came in through Everglades City. The government started to make regulation and regulation and regulation, and it left the people of Everglades City with no other option. Everything that they did for a living eventually became illegal, may it be their fishing or their crabbing, all the things that they did for a living. So these people had a dilemma on how they were going to make a living. I don't know, I think it adds to the allure of the place to know. I cannot even imagine the stories that these people in Everglades City must have, because for a time period, a large percentage of the drugs coming into the United States through Everglades City. It's like why Bonnie and Clyde, there's songs about them, there's movies about them. It's a part of history that attracts people. For some reason, people are attracted to that, and I definitely think it's one reason to visit this town, just to know that these people that are natives here have so much history behind them. Today, fishing and tourism is definitely how they make their money. The history is there, and it's definitely worth checking it out. Moving on to number 1. Located in Marion County and Citrus County is the Rainbow River. This has to be Florida's best kept secret. This river is amazing. It is crystal clear water, and the temperature of the water is about 73 degrees. It's really cold in the summer, and it's a little bit warmer in the winter because it's fed from underground springs. The water is so clear, and you'll see bass, you'll see little fish. It's really amazing. Apparently a lot of people swim in the river, and we swim in the river too. When you think about Florida, swimming in a river really should not come to mind. We have a lot of alligators, and on occasions people do run alligators here, but for some reason people swim in the river, so we did it too. And you'll have an amazing time. It's just a unique thing to do in Florida. There's not a lot of places in Florida where you should go in the water. Actually, you should not go in the water in Florida because we have a lot of gators. But here, apparently, I don't know why you can do it. You can, and you'll have a great time. The Rainbow River, it's amazing. In the 1900s, I believe, or late 1800s, when they first discovered or started to live around this river, they were not tourists. They were mining, and actually their only interest in this river was to exploit its natural resources, which is really sad because today we look at it as a natural attraction, but it is one of the coolest things in Florida. What I like about the Rainbow River is it attracts a lot of people, but it's so massive that you're able to find a little quiet corner and be able to enjoy it to yourself. And a lot of these places in Florida, like in Weeki Wachee, there's a line. I've stayed at in Spring Hill, Weeki Wachee. I stay at the hotel right in front of Weeki Wachee Springs because it's the cheapest hotel there. And when I stay there, the lines to get into Weeki Wachee, that's a tough one, Springs, it's a really long line, and people stand there for hours to get in. Here, you can get into the river if you have a boat really easily. I mean, the boat ramps are busy and all that, but it's really worth it. It's a unique place. It's absolutely beautiful. You're able to go in the water and swim and explore. You'll have an awesome time. I know we did, and I definitely recommend it. The fishing is amazing out there, so I hope you enjoy it. And this is one of those places where once you go there, you're going to go back again. One trip is not going to satisfy your desire to explore this place. You're really going to like it, and I hope you enjoyed this list. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I really encourage you to subscribe because I'm not always going to be able to post it on Facebook. Sometimes I'm just way too busy. So please subscribe to our channel, and we're going to keep sharing really cool details about Florida with you. Tell me what you want to see on my channel, what you like, what you don't like, so we can make this channel better. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night or day, whatever you're watching. Bye. And don't forget to like and share with all your friends so they too can enjoy the channel.